Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. A traveling Vietnam vet memorial is coming to Oxford, and a New York man sues the Oakland County Sheriff Department.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Christ the King Church on West Drainer Road in Oxford will be hosting the Michigan-Vietnam Traveling Memorial on Saturday, July 11th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Spokesperson for the church, Bob Tenbosch, said the memorial is a reminder of those sacrifices given by local residents. The tribute contains 2,654 Michigan men and women who were killed in the Vietnam conflict. Again, the memorial date is Saturday, July 11th at Christ the King Church, 1550 West Drainer Road in Oxford Township.
21-year-old John Lepanko from New York filed a lawsuit against the Oakland County Sheriff Department, claiming that he was wrongfully arrested and jailed for internet sex crimes involving a 14-year-old Oxford girl last year. The man's attorney claims the investigation work was sloppy. However, the Sheriff's Department disputes his claim, stating the detectives did a great job collecting evidence during their 4-month investigation. The case, however, was later dropped by Oakland County prosecutor.
With the 4th of July just last week, residents need to be reminded that according to Michigan law, you can legally shoot fireworks on the day before, the day of, and the day after the holiday. If you intend to shoot fireworks at any other time, you need a permit. In the village in Oxford Township, you can purchase your permit at the fire station on Washington Street in Oxford.
The Willow's Edge Counseling and Arts Center, previously located in Lake Orion, has a new name and a new location. It's now called the Willow's Edge Healing Arts and has moved from Orion to Oxford. The future 501c3 will provide a broad range of mental health services to local residents who have limited resources. Willow's Edge is located right downtown on the 2nd floor of the building, which houses Lily's Diner across from the park.
There's music in the air. For years, Oxford downtown concerts in Centennial Park has been a popular pastime for local residents every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Folks who bring their own lawn chairs can sit back and enjoy the many forms of music offered free of charge. The new addition to the entertainment this year is an opportunity for upcoming stars to try out their pipes during the open mic session before the concerts. Residents and non-residents can enjoy rock and roll, blues, and folk music, but you can see the complete music schedule by going to your computer and clicking on concertsinthepark.com.
There was magic in the air when the magician and comedian Chris Lynn performed before a standing room crowd at the Oxford Public Library on Pontiac Street. You can learn more about lots of other great programs offered by our local library by contacting the library staff.
Village police were called to break up a fight between friends that broke out at a village home, and no charges were filed, though, against the 18-year-old pals.
A Gillespie Street resident called the police to report her brother punched her in the stomach. Officers found the brother, who denied his sister's accusations, and she later refused to press charges.
Village police report a green mongoose bike was found on the Pollyann Trail behind the West Burdick Plaza. The owner can claim the bike by going to the village police station located at 22 West Burdick Street or by calling 248-628-2581. Well, I hope they find their bike.
I do too. You know, somebody stole one of my son's mongoose bikes, but that was about 15, 20 years ago. So I don't think it's theirs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a shame that people lose or people steal the bikes around here. That's
Hi guys.
Hey!
Connie Miller, look who came to join us.
Look what I made you
Connie's
today.
Kitchen. Oh, look at that.
Yummy!
Yeah, you guys work so hard, and I hear you don't
how
always get a
nice.
chance to have lunch.
Oh, good.
So it is strawberry season, so I made you some strawberry chicken salad up at Connie's Kitchen.
Excited.
Forks.
At the
Just in time
lodge.
for lunch here, huh?
So that was the plan, and of course
very
I try to
nice.
always be prepared, so I have everything you could possibly need right there.
Everything possible.
We've been having so much fun filming the show.
Oh, Oh, and
You
it's
guys have-
such a great show.
Oh, thanks. You guys have been great.
Does this mean
You're
we have to
doing
leave a
good
tip?
job. And this is something
Always.
that
You know,
Connie
Always.
does.
Scott and Irish, I hate to give up the cash, but
Connie does this out of the goodness of her heart. This is volunteer, you doing this, and
Yeah.
you put a lot of hours into it. I really
Well, I
appreciate
enjoy it. You know, it promotes the lodge, Treetop Lodge,
Yes,
of course,
it
which
does.
is great.
A local business.
Yep,
right?
and it promotes our free meal program, where we, we
Yes.
cook a second Wednesday of every month, and when there's a fifth Wednesday, my team's on. So we do it then too. And I love to cook, and I love to cater, and we have so much going on up there, and I just want to take every opportunity I can to let people know we're there.
And everybody here at the studio fights when it's a day to shoot Connie cooking, because we all want to go up there because we get to eat that.
You get to eat it, yep.
and it's a wonderful show too, I got to
really
tell you.
is.
Aw,
You
thanks.
can't watch a show without getting hungry, so be prepared to eat afterwards. Or just go visit Connie.
Yeah, come on up to the lodge. I love it when people hang out in the kitchen with me. I had a guest when we taped it yesterday, and it's fun.
Yes, it
You know, I
is.
just love having people around. But it's funny because people have been asking me to do cooking classes.
Oh.
Well, you've watched me cook, and I never do the same thing twice.
Of course, right.
I mean, exact measure, is very important as I'm dumping things in.
Yeah,
and
right.
The only time I really follow a recipe is when I'm baking, because you have to.
Yes, you do.
But then I don't do a lot of baking. So
For that reason, right? Me too.
yeah.
My question is, do you need an agent? And if you do, I'm available.
You'll be the first one I call.
Well,
No,
we
I
really-
figured I would do a cooking show with the way I cook. Like, just put out a bunch of ingredients and start getting creative with it. Because that's what it's all about. That's
Yeah,
fun.
agreed. You
Yeah.
have fun. There's no stress that way
No.
when you just start throwing things together.
Yeah. And this I kind of just cleaned out the fridge.
Oh, yeah.
Little bits of things that I had from different recipes.
These are good things you cleaned out of the
Yeah,
refrigerator.
well, it's all fresh, of course, but we don't like to waste things. I want to use them up as quick as possible. So you got spinach, strawberries, chicken, feta cheese, almonds, a little bit of onion. So scoop some up. You have to have a taste before we
We'll have a taste
before we say goodbye.
this is Oxford News this week.
I'm
I
gonna
will
let Terry have
definitely
my
taste
share
it.
right now because I just had breakfast.
Oh.
It looks really good, but I promise you I will eat some later.
Okay. Is it good? See, that's the thing. This time of year, all the fresh
typical.
stuff's coming in.
Yeah.
Fresh strawberries, everything else.
That's great. Connie's Kitchen.
Deep in
Yep.
flavor.
So watch me here on OCTV and on YouTube. And thanks again, you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to do
Well,
this.
thanks for visiting us,
Oh,
and
good.
thank you for visiting us.
My
this
pleasure.
is Oxford News This Week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, go to your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper. We know all about that. Or better yet, catch us here at Charter Channel 191 and AT&T Channel 99. Sorry about the mouthful.
And coming up next
No,
on
no.
OCTV, tune in for local Oxford sports, and then catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. After that, join us with Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles. This is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be friends to your neighbors, and kind to your
Kind to your neighbors, too.
Your unicorns.
Thanks for watching. That's right, at the lodge.
That's right.
at the lodge. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, this is delicious.
I'm Oakland County Sheriff Mike Bouchard and former Red Wing great Joey Koser reminding you to follow the rules regarding boater safety. Always operate at safe speeds, avoid alcohol, and wear a life jacket. Don't let a great day on the water be ruined by bad decisions.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, private space firm SpaceX is gearing up for its third attempt to land a rocket on a platform in the Atlantic. In the first two tries, the rocket reached the barge it was aiming for, but exploded instead of landing softly. Success could mark the start of a new era of reusable spacecraft. And do you use Facebook? Well, thanks to the latest advances in computer vision, we now have machines that can pick you out of a lineup. But what if your face is hidden from view? An experimental algorithm out of Facebook's artificial intelligence lab can recognize people in photographs even when it can't see their faces. Instead, it looks for other unique characteristics like your hairdo, clothing, body shape, and pose. Modern face recognition algorithms are so good they've already found their way into social networks, shops, and even churches. Yann LeCun, head of artificial intelligence at Facebook, wanted to see if they could be adapted to recognize people in situations where someone's face isn't clear, something humans can already do quite well. There are lots of clues we use. People have characteristic aspects if you look at them from the back, says LeCun. For example, you can recognize Mark Zuckerberg very easily because he always wears a gray t-shirt. The research team pulled almost 40,000 public photos from Flickr, Some of people with their full face clearly visible, others where they were turned away and ran them through a sophisticated neural network. The final algorithm was able to recognize individual people's identities with 83% accuracy. It was presented earlier this month at the Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition Conference in Boston, Massachusetts. An algorithm like this could one day help power photo apps like Facebook's Moments, released last week. Moments scours through a phone's photos, sorting them into separate events like a friend's wedding or a trip to the beach, and tagging whoever it recognizes as a Facebook friend. LeCun also imagined such a tool would be useful for the privacy-conscious, alerting someone whenever a photo of themselves, however obscured, pops up on the internet. The flip side is also true. The ability to identify someone even when they are not looking at the camera raises some serious privacy implications. Last week, talks over rules governing facial recognition collapsed after privacy advocates and industry groups could not agree. If even when you hide your face you can be successfully linked to your identity, that will certainly concern people, says Ralph Gross at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, who says the algorithm is very impressive. Well, in space, Venus is leaking lava. Researchers have found oozing volcanoes on our closest planetary neighbor, a discovery that may help solve the planet's deepest geological riddles. Past observations reveal that Venus's surface is new, at least in geological terms. But because it doesn't sport many craters, scientists think the planet has been paved over by upwelling lava within the last billion years. There have been hints of more recent volcanism also. Some terrain looks as young as a few 100,000 years, and we have seen changes in the amount of sulfur, an element produced by volcanoes in the planet's atmosphere. But no solid evidence of fresh lava, until now. An international team has dug through the data from the European Space Agency's Venus Express probe, which orbited from 2006 until 2014, and found short-lived hot patches they attribute to lava lakes bubbling up through a geological rift. By chance, we found this bright event, but by carefully analyzing the region, we found 3 more, says Eugene Saligen of the Max Planck Institute for Solar System Research in Göttingen, Germany. The thick Venetian atmosphere makes it tough to see what's going on the surface. The team used thermal imaging at wavelengths that can penetrate through the clouds, and then they looked at the clearest images they could get. Even those images were smeared out so that features smaller than 50 kilometers remain blurry. They did find blobs that grew hotter over a few days and then quickly cooled, as might be expected for lava flows quenched under the pressure of the atmosphere. This is such a beautiful evidence of volcanism, says Lindy Elkins-Tanton at the Arizona State University. And Venus, like Earth, has heat from its formation and radioactive elements trapped inside and must have had some way to release it. So the discovery isn't a total shock, she says. Although lava wasn't expected, it wasn't clear whether Venus spewed it in frequent trickles or catastrophic global floods. The team's findings suggest that some flows are little and often. There's also the question of whether Venus was ever habitable. Active volcanoes mean the planet has a tiny carbon cycle, Elkins says, which churns between its atmosphere and its insides. We think the exchange of carbon is important for helping planets maintain a balanced climate. While Venus's cycle clearly isn't enough to make it habitable, the fact that it's there at all may imply that exoplanets like it, with just one tectonic plate, might be able to keep stable atmospheres. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back after this.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. Another long night at the school board office last week. The board dealt with curriculum matters, budget and strategic planning, among other things. One of the concerns with a new strategic plan is how to measure the progress of our kids as they go forward in our schools. Ken Weaver is our Assistant Superintendent of Instruction and Curriculum. He mentions some things to keep in mind.
Because one of the first things we have to do is define what exactly student academic achievement is, and what are you going to measure, and how you're going to measure it, because there are several different ways to do that. Several different combinations that you can do that. You can use state data, you can use opportunities, and if you look back, I'll just go out happy here when you brought up the first strategic planning, That was a little bit different set of circumstances, and we were looking at the times of opportunities to bring kids in, to keep our student growth or enrollment going, and that was a big major component of it. As well, we were gearing up for the change in testing that was to occur.
One of the main differences in the new strategic plan is flexibility, so it can be adjusted with the needs of our kids in our schools. We stopped by our Crossroads for Youth school over on Drainer Road to check on how things went this year. If you recall, they were scrambling to get everything together last fall after late notice that we were taking back the school into our district. Virtually all of the students here are court appointed. It seems to be going well. Psychologist Amy Wright joined the staff last November. She had been over at the high school and virtual academy. She talks of her new experience here.
Yes, it definitely became like a completely new position in terms of like what my role was as a psychologist. The biggest piece being like working with kids one-on-one, like in a counseling aspect.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you find most interesting about this challenge?
Maybe just the growth that I made personally, but and just becoming to understand kids better as a whole. I mean, these kids really are no different than the other kids throughout the district. They need to know that there's somebody here that cares about them.
Yeah.
And when they have that, they flourish. So.
Anything really surprising?
I think some of the kids that we've met, it surprises us knowing the extent of their experiences and how resilient they are. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think about some of the things that they go through, and I think as adults would just make us want to cry, but they're so resilient and strong that they just carry on as if, you know.
Later, we checked in with Principal Aletha Van Loosen over at our alternative high school, Oxford Bridges. She gives an update and talks about her staff.
Things are going really well. I really could not ask for a better year. My teaching staff, who were new last year, continue to just move forward and grow. I do have a new math science teacher who started in the fall, and he has fit in wonderfully. He's got a great personality, gets along very well with our students, which is, of course, the most important thing. One of the things that's important to me is that staff actually like working with kids. If they are not proficient necessarily in their curriculum areas, or they're not proficient in classroom management, those are things you can teach. Can't teach people how to like kids. And so the wonderful thing here is all three of my teaching staff love the students here, as well as I have two what you call paraprofessionals. They help out in the classroom. And they've been here for the full 5 years that this program has been in existence.
Aletha also explained new programs.
We've done a couple of new things this year. We implemented what's called standard-based grading, which is where you take the Michigan standards that are required, and you actually teach towards that, and that's what students are graded on. So it's not about did you turn your homework in, it's not about, did you complete that paper, it's do you understand what you need to know to pass this course. Which we find is a much more effective grading system, because you're actually grading on what students know or what you expect them to know, as opposed to the behavior of did they turn an assignment in.
Altogether, there were 58 students at Bridges this year, 19 graduates. We'll have more on these stories on Schooling Around. That's the Oxford School News for this week. Stay tuned for Dave, Elgin, and Jamie. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
And welcome back to Oxford News this week. Hope you're having a great time wherever you are. And yes, I tell you, due to the limited of sports, we're trying to find some interesting sports stories. The biggest highlight from this past Tuesday's game between the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Indians once again featured, the Tiger first baseman, Miguel Cabrera. This particular highlight didn't take place actually on the plate, as it normally does. It occurred after the fifth inning when Cabrera delivered a pair of game-used batting gloves and a bat to a young Indians fan sat in the stands in Cleveland. Never one to be shy about engaging the fans or visiting them, Cabrera's generous gift came after a playful back-and-forth conversation between the young fan, who cleanly fielded a foul ball during the first baseline, with his baseball cap. The play was entertaining, and the exchange took place between Cabrera and Dom was real magic. Cabrera played along and exchanged a broad smile to the fan. After the inning ended, Cabrera told Dom, wearing an Indians cap and t-shirt, to stay seated and not to go away. Cabrera then gathered a gift basket of sorts from the dugout, which included a batting glove, a bat, and tossed them to the energetic fan between innings. Shocked enough, the young man probably became a Cabrera fan for life. If you want to check the video out, the video is pretty entertaining. We have a picture right here. Right now in a segment we would like to call, Hey, it's summer. I want to talk to Rod Wright. Rod Wright caught up with these interesting guests.
Well, I have Mallory Bronikowski and Cole Kessler, right? Mm-hmm. You know, guess who we were talking about you look like out there?
Who?
Sky Donaldson. Do you know Sky?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of the same fluidity that Sky has. She's very athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And you look good out there. I like your pitching. Yeah, nice looking wind up and all. How was she catching to it?
Very good.
Getting the ball in there, good?
Mm-hmm.
You've had, what, 3-4 different pitchers today?
Mm-hmm.
I know, that's tough on a catcher, isn't it? She's catching, so that's the hardest position. She's like, I'm not hitting well today, but, you know, most catchers don't hit well at all.
Really?
There's only been a few, like maybe Johnny Bench, and just a few in the history of baseball, because they're so busy catching, you know. It's a lot physically, mentally, you know. Mm-hmm. Same with pitchers. You know, you wonder, because in the National League they bat. So when you're doing both, it's hard to do both. So when you do good at both, that's really good. So, are you having fun today?
Oh, yeah.
You know, we're kind of beating up this team a little bit, aren't we? But they're still having fun, though, aren't they?
Looks like it.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good. But you girls are doing good this year. Are you going to pitch some more?
Today?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you usually pitch?
I've been having some issues right now, so I usually don't, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think they should try it some more. I think you look good out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would know. You know she's doing good, right? You got to build her up a little bit. Come on, that's what the catcher does. You guys, like, really close and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks, girls. We're running through this order pretty quick, and I better let you get up there. I think you're going to be hitting soon.
Yeah.
You're going to get that hit today. You watch. Okay? Keep the attitude positive. All right? All right, we'll see you. Let's get back.
Sometimes you witness the most unlikely friend pairings, and this was actually captured in Florida by Richard Jones, a raccoon riding on an alligator. Near the Ocala National Forest, Jones said he snapped the photo right when the gator slipped into the water, and before the raccoon jumped off, he called it a photo of a lifetime. Just a reminder, the programs you see here on OCTV can easily be viewed online on your personal device. Go to OCCTV.org, hit the Programs tab, or hit YouTube. You can watch any of our programming on demand on your computer, iPad, or phone, wherever you choose to watch it. Catch all our sports on the weekends. And we run the sports between 1 and 6 p.m. and school programs as well. Again, you can also go to our website, OCCTV.org, and catch that. And a reminder, as I say, we also are published in the Oxford Leader. Plus, we have a schedule right here, just in case you are wondering what time programs come on. Let's say if you wanted to watch Let's Get Strolling, it would actually come on at like 8:30 or even 1:30 in the afternoon. We will send this to you. Send us a self-stamped addressed envelope to our studio. We'll mail this out to you, and you'll have your little program guide here, and you'll know exactly what programs are on. Going into summer, we'd like to feature you and your family in sports that you take part in, covering some of the Little League games and adult softball games. Again, if you see Rod Wright out there, maybe catch up with him and get an interview, and maybe you'll see yourself on television. Again, that wraps it up in sports. Hope you have yourself a good one. Again, if you want your schedule, send a self-stamped addressed envelope to the studio. We'll send it right out to you, and then you'll be in the know of when all the programs are on here on OCTV. Have a great week, everybody. Enjoy. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Ford Motor Company is getting into the car sharing and electric bike businesses as part of CEO Mark Field's effort to transform the automaker into a more holistic provider of transportation options. The company has announced that a pilot car sharing program that invites 26,000 Ford Motor Credit Company customers in 6 U.S. cities and London to offer their vehicles for short-term rentals. It also unveiled a new battery-powered bike aimed at urban commuters. The bike folds and can be recharged while being stored in any Ford vehicle. The peer-to-peer car-sharing program and Mode Flex bike represent the next phase of Ford's smart mobility plan Fields introduced in January. Ford has been conducting 25 experiments on topics related to helping customers get around in the future. After gathering data for 6 months, Ford said it is focusing on 2 general areas: flexible use and ownership of vehicles, and urban commuting using multiple methods of transportation. The car-sharing program will run through November and involve 14,000 U.S. customers at Ford Credit and 12,000 in London. They can sign up to offset their monthly ownership costs by renting their vehicle to drivers who have been screened. The U.S. program will operate in Berkeley, Oakland, and San Francisco, California, Portland, Oregon, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. Ford cited a study by research company Pension Berland showing that a third of millennials in the U.S. are interested in supplementing their income by renting out their belongings, and that more than half are open to sharing rides with other people. Fields said the car-sharing program is still in the experimental stage, but that it could eventually become profitable. The Mode Flex bike connects to a smartphone app that can plan the most efficient mode of transportation for a journey and can help riders get to their destination without breaking a sweat by increasing electric pedal assist based on their heart rate. Wow. Well, at General Motors says it's investing $245 million in its Orion assembly plant and adding 300 jobs for an all-new vehicle program. GM wouldn't disclose the vehicle it plans to produce at the Orion assembly plant, where the Chevrolet Sonic, Buick Verano small cars are built, and GM is also adding the Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle to the plant when it gets launched, likely in 2017. The automaker said the new vehicle program would be unlike any in the plant's 32-year history. A spokesman said production will begin in the next 3 to 4 years. The news comes a week after Orion workers were told that GM will cut production at the plant by more than 20% and lay off 100 workers amid slow Sonic and Verano sales, sources told Automotive News. GM has curbed output several times in recent months at the 4.3 million square foot factory, where about 1,580 hourly and 180 salary employees work. The investment will boost GM's total spending on the Orion plant to $962 million since it reopened in the previously idled plant in 2010. GM said the plant has a unique culture that encourages problem solving among employees. For example, a team of paint shop workers developed a monitoring tool to predict potential failures in robotic paint applicators, which GM says cuts costs and is now being implemented at other plants. GM's announcement is the latest in a string of factory investments that GM is disclosing in advance of its upcoming negotiations with UAW on a new 4-year collective bargaining agreement. GM says it will spend $5.4 billion on its U.S. manufacturing plants over the next 3 years. It has identified $3.1 billion of that so far and says it will disclose the rest by year end. And at Fiat Chrysler Automobile's Ram division is firing the opening salvo in its 2016 model pickup wars by boosting the torque rating of its high-output 6.7-liter diesel engine to 900 pounds-feet, highest in the industry. The increased power comes standard on all versions of the heavy-duty Ram, equipped with an optional beefed-up Aisin 6-speed automatic transmission. The high-output Ram 3500 also has an industry-best maximum towing rating of 31,210 pounds, an increase of 1,210 pounds from a similarly equipped 2015 Ram 3500 with an Aisin 6-speed transmission. And at the heavy-duty Ram trucks with FCA's regular 6-speed automatic transmission remain unchanged at 800 pounds-feet. GM and Ford are not expected to make major changes in their pickup diesel engines for 2016. Ford, GM, and Nissan offer their diesel engines with only 1 power rating. Torque, not horsepower, is the most important measure for heavy-duty trucks because it's directly related to the vehicle's towing and hauling capacity. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back after this.
Getting closer.